We are the LA Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance, and our mission is to advance sustainability and resilience across the city through advocacy, sharing of best practices, and community action. Our agenda this evening is we're going to get through the introductions and housekeeping as quickly as possible, and then dive into the Arroyo Seco water reuse project, which will take up the vast majority of the evening until about 8 o'clock, I'm thinking. And then we'll do some committee reports. And then, as always, we will allow some time for announcements. And then, of course, as always, we'd love to hear evaluations from you folks. I mean, not talk about them, but give you an opportunity to complete our evaluation form. Community agreements, I want to take a little more time than usual to talk about these because this is a sensitive topic. We'd love to have you, if you can have your camera on and show your face so that we can be building community. We always say assume good intent and give people the benefit of the doubt. That might not always in every situation be possible. So try to do that, but if you can't, I guess I would say fake it until you make it. And if you can't fake it until you make it, just fake it and pretend. And at least demonstrate respect and appreciation. We do have the chat open for you, but please refrain from having too many side conversations. Be focused on the topics that we are on. Listen intently, so those two might be a little bit contradictory, I realize. Also, step forward and then step back, so contribute, but let others do the same. Be concise as possible, because our time tonight is limited. And, let's try to have fun. This is a really important and intense conversation, but maybe we can have fun at the same time. I'd also like to give an opportunity for us to introduce our board, and then we'll dive in. So Alex, I see you first. Can you please go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Alex Tanglos. I'm on the board of the LANCSA. I'm the former chair of the Sustainability and Beautification Committee for the Wilshire Center Koreatown Neighborhood Council, and I'm the former chair of my old firm's Southern California Sustainability Committee.
Thank you very much. And Muriel, I see you next. Can you please go ahead?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Muriel Nakar. I'm also a LANCSA board member. I'm the co-chair of the Transportation and Land Use Committee, and I was formerly part of the Echo Park Neighborhood Council.
Thank you. And Charles, you're up next.
Hey, everyone. Charles Miller, LANCSA board, also from the Palms and Sea Green Committee, and a lot of people also know me as the chair of Los Angeles Climate Reality Project.
And Charles wears many, many, many hats, but we don't have enough time this evening for him to describe all of them. And Aurora. Aurora, are you frozen? Am I frozen? Aurora is in a place with very poor internet, so it's possible that she is frozen, which is unfortunate because she is one of our main moderators of the chat tonight. So that is bad, but she is on our board. Also, I forgot to mention, and I should have mentioned, so her being frozen reminds me, we do have moderators of the chat, and one of their primary roles is to warn you folks if you are not following our community agreements, and to kick you out if you are not following our community agreements. It looks like Aurora is back with us.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sure you told me. Yeah, I'm in the area.
It's going to be a bumpy night for Aurora this evening.
Yes.
But Aurora, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Aurora Corona. I'm on the board of the Los Angeles Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance. I'm also a former member of the Pico Union Neighborhood Council.
Okay. Okay, so she's in and out, but I will see what she hope she can read the chat for us. And I often forget to introduce myself, but I'm Lisa Hart. I'm the executive director, and I'm on the Green Committee for the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council. And I forgot to ask our board members to do this, but if you folks could spotlight Jens and Tim while I introduce them, that would be very helpful. So I'm super grateful to Tim Brick, who is Executive Director. Yeah, thank you, Charles. That's a great idea. Or if you could try maybe going off video, that might help. Although I don't think that helped in our meeting the other day. Tim Brick is the Executive Director of Stewards of the Arroyo Seco, and he is here representing the folks in, or some folks, I should say, maybe he's not representing all of them. He is representing some folks in opposition to the Arroyo Seco water reuse project, and he will present that position. And Jens Jonason is a Garvanza resident, which I am learning is, well, it may be part of the, maybe it's safe to say part of the greater Highland Park area. Maybe that's not correct. Jens can correct me if it isn't. Oh, I don't need to be spotlit. I would prefer not to be spotlit. Thank you. So please make me go away. Thank you. Make me go away. No, not my face, just me. Thank you. And he is here as an individual, what is that message to me? Somebody wants to do a video. Okay, is one of you showing a video? Why is this message? As a co-host has asked to start a video. I'm gonna say later. I don't know who's asking that.
No, Lisa, I was trying to turn your camera back on because it got turned off.
Oh, so I see what that's saying. Thank you. Jens is here as an individual stakeholder and wants us to be very clear that he's not representing any organization. So he asked me to say that, and I think he will also reiterate that. And he is representing a case, I guess I should say, not the case, but a case in support of the project. So they will each have about 20 minutes to make their case. Tim is going to go first, and then they're each going to have a couple minutes or 5 minutes to respond to the other or rebut the other. And then we're going to open it up to all of you, for which we do in most of our meetings, for questions, comments. And we might not have time tonight. I don't know how much we agree with each other right now, or how much we don't agree with each other. We might end up, we're going to try to work by consensus if we do, to come up with a proposed position this is considered a special meeting of the advocacy committee. So we might end up working toward a recommended position that we would recommend to the alliance as a whole. We might have time to get to that. We might not. We'll sort of have to see by feel how we're, to what degree we agree with each other and how much time we have. So we're going to play that part by ear. But we're going to start by hearing from each of them. I think I've said all the things I need to see, and we're going to give the floor to Tim. So thank you, Tim. And at 6:41, I'm marking that down so that I know when to give you your 5-minute warning.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here this evening. This is really a very important topic, particularly for people that deal with sustainability. As was said, I'm the executive director of the Stewards of the Arroyo Seco. I've been working for 40 years to restore the Arroyo Seco and the Los Angeles River. Our goal really is stream restoration and to bring back as much of nature as we can to the Arroyo Seco and to the Los Angeles River system. I also have a long background in water resources development and watershed management. I served for 28 years on the board of directors of the Metropolitan Water District, representing the city of Pasadena, and I was elected chairman from 2006 to 2010. I want to share screen now. Let me get that going. And
yeah, it looks like your slides are in the process of coming up. Yes. They're not in full screen mode yet.
There we go.
They're not in full screen mode yet, though. Yes, now they are. Perfect. That's beautiful.
Oh, okay.
Great.
So the Arroyo Seco is a living tributary at the heart of the Los Angeles River system. It really begins in the Angeles National Forest in the San Gabriel Mountains, and it descends through the communities of Altadena, La Cañada, Flint Ridge, Pasadena, South Pasadena, and Northeast Los Angeles. About 5 miles of the Arroyo Seco is in the city of Los Angeles. You can see it really is at the center of the Los Angeles River watershed, a key tributary. And really the tributary, if steelhead are going to come back to the Los Angeles River, it's going to be through the Arroyo Seco. The question tonight that we're dealing with really is pretty simple, is are we going to treat the Arroyo Seco and the Los Angeles River as natural phenomena, or are we going to view them as corridors for infrastructure? The proposed Arroyo Seco water reuse study, as shown in green, is described as green, sustainable, and nature-based. But at San Pascual and San Rafael, the project would take sensitive open space and convert it into engineered water treatment infrastructure. We urge the Los Angeles Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance to look past the labels and judge the project by what it does to land, water, habitat, tribal and cultural resources, and public trust. I'm working with many of the opponents of the project, and we want to make clear that the choice is not really whether to clean water, but how to clean it and how to use it. We support local water supply. We support water quality. We support restoring native habitat. We support real stream restoration. Our opposition is not to clean water, but it's to a design that treats public open space restoration opportunities as the cheapest place to install infrastructure. The Arroyo Seco water reuse projects claim the vocabulary of nature, but an artificial wetland built around diversion structures is not the same thing as a restored creek, a functioning floodplain, or an intact public park. Sustainability means protecting both water and place. There's 2 key sites in the project. They would divert water flow from San Rafael Creek and then a tributary of the Los Angeles River at the southern tip of Pasadena, treat it and discharge the rest back into the channel, and then send it 900 feet south to the San Pascual site for more treatment, infiltration, and golf course irrigation. The plan that Pasadena and South Pasadena has put together really includes man-made treatment wetlands, infiltration basins, and industrial facilities. They claim minimal groundwater benefits and a water supply benefit of 320 acre feet, with about 30 acre feet for golf course irrigation. Don't be deceived by their language. They're calling it stream restoration and stormwater capture, wetlands and habitat restoration, but it's not. That's greenwashing. This is a 2-site water treatment and irrigation project. These are over-engineered facilities in precious open space. Site 1 is at San Pascual, and it's the one that's gotten most of the controversy. It's there. Part of it's in South Pasadena, but a key part of it is in San Pascual Park, a Los Angeles city park. The nearby San Pascual Valley will bear the brunt of the negative impacts of the project. It's a disadvantaged community in the edge of Northeast Los Angeles. None of it is more than half a mile from the noise and air pollution of the Arroyo Seco Parkway. The project lists land use as open space across Pasadena, South Pasadena, and Los Angeles, but open space is not spare space. The project, the San Pascual site, is a beloved environmental treasure for the neighbors that live in that area. What's unique about San Pascual? It's a neighborhood green refuge at the Pasadena, South Pasadena, Los Angeles edge. It has lots of mature trees, almost 200, wetlands, habitat, community use, rare open space in a park-poor area. San Pascual is a key link in the living corridor between the San Gabriel Mountains, the Arroyo Seco, and downtown Los Angeles. It's in the transition zone as the Arroyo Seco moves from south to west, coming south from the San Gabriel Mountains and then west to downtown Los Angeles. It really is a beloved treasure for the neighbors that live there. It's what could be lost. A beloved environmental treasure would be transformed into an industrial treatment facility. Precious wetland habitat would be destroyed for pipes and plumbing. The public would get access wrapped around plumbing, not restored nature. It's a very important wildlife corridor, moving into downtown Los Angeles even. It connects, as I said, the San Gabriel Mountains. You can see the map there, through Pasadena, down into San Rafael, which is at the southern tip of Pasadena, and then San Pascual, which is in Los Angeles and South Pasadena. It's a site for an iNaturalist BioBlitz, which has demonstrated the tremendous biodiversity that is found in that area. This very important transition from the mountains to downtown Los Angeles. So what's going to happen to San Pascual? Devastation. It's going to be really devastation. The bulldozers and excavators will dig out that area. They're going to destroy more than 130 trees. They're going to dig out a massive pit, destroying oaks, sycamores, and native shrubs that are there. It'll look like this for a couple of years. To replace the 100-year oaks, they'll plant trees and shrubs around 2 big fenced pools that are really for storing water to irrigate the golf course. That's really the ultimate purpose of this project. They call it artificial wetlands, but in reality, it's really to build a reservoir for a golf course, the South Pasadena Golf Course. And they'll landscape it, but it won't be the type of landscape that's there now. It'll take many decades for the trees and shrubs to recover and a lot of maintenance to keep everything working right. So why do Pasadena and South Pasadena want to put industrial infrastructure on City of LA land, parkland, part of San Pascual Park, when there's really no direct participation or benefits from the City of Los Angeles in the project? Well, it's quite a puzzle as to why they're doing it. Ask them. They seek a permanent easement on the parkland, even though Los Angeles City Charter forbids the use of parkland for non-park activity. The Gabrielino Quiche Nation is very interested in this area. They're opposed to the project, very opposed to the project. They call the site Little Hahamungna, and they want us to know that this land is a sacred site with immense cultural significance. They have formally requested full avoidance of this location. San Pascual Creek is the second key site in the water reuse project. It's a very important site right next to the LA-Pasadena boundary, 900 feet north of the San Pascual site. So you can see they're very close together. San Rafael Creek is a tributary of the Arroyo Seco that runs for 1.5 miles down the western edge of Pasadena. San Rafael Creek is a really excellent site, a rare confluence restoration opportunity. It's the last semi-natural stream, major tributary of the Arroyo Seco. It can connect water quality, habitat, education, and community science. There is some bacterial contamination in the site, but San Rafael Creek is listed as a low-flow priority candidate for reducing bacteria exceedances in the Arroyo Seco. There's more than 31 other outlets in the other LA River system, the upper LA River system, that have larger loads of bacteria. Instead of a nature-based approach, the planners are looking for lots of pipes and plumbing, pools that amount to gray infrastructure rather. They They'll install a new channel diversion, an actuated valve, pretreatment facilities, infiltration and recharge basins, and infiltration units. They'll leave the small concrete channel that's already there in place. The confluence becomes, instead of a restored wetlands, it becomes an engineered node, not a living eco treasure. And the industrial facilities causes new barriers for the fish, wildlife, and stream restoration that could occur in the future. It's really an unparalleled restoration opportunity that's been studied for many years. Northeast Trees in 2006 developed a good plan for how to proceed with a natural approach. And in 2019, engineers and scientists from Stillwater Science reviewed that same kind of plan and suggested a nature-based way to deal with this site. But all of that study has been lost by the current staff, which doesn't seem to have the vision or values that motivated the restoration that's gone on in the Arroyo for many years. Really, San Rafael Creek truly is a perfect site for a great stream restoration. And this cartoon kind of explains it, the difference in perspective between the two sides. One, the engineering side, we'll fix it with pipes and tanks and plumbings and all sorts of the latest technology. And the nature side, which says, let's consider the birds and the trout and nature and the people and how they will be affected by that. Students from the graduate school of the landscape architecture at University of California at Berkeley came up with this wonderful design about what to do about the San Rafael site. It's just awesome. So they would take, they compare the existing engineered condition to a restored natural condition. And they outline how to do steps and various ways of dealing with the flow in the San Rafael area to reestablish the wetlands that have historically been there, but that have been taken up by that lousy little flood channel that you saw just a minute ago. So this site, by the graduate students at Berkeley, really shows what a little bit of vision can bring to the site and what a future treasure this can be for all of us. What's wrong with water reuse? Well, first of all, what is water reuse? What's the water reuse here? It's hard to answer. Maybe the irrigation of the golf course, which is about 30 acre-feet a year, not a lot of water, maybe that's the reuse, but that's not generally what's considered reuse. This is really a dry weather diversion. That's a very important thing to understand. It's not stormwater. They're not scooping up stormwater, the water that comes, during massive flood kind of conditions and all. They're taking a dry weather flow, and they're going to use it. Some of it's going to be used for golf course irrigation. It'll turn open space into 2 industrial treatment zones. It lets contaminated water flow through San Rafael Creek for 1.5 miles instead of preventing and treating it at the source. And the San Pascual diversion will divert the entire flow of the Arroyo Seco during the dry months of the year, 10 months of the year, creating new barriers for fish passage. Here's a good comparison between the natural wetlands and constructed wetlands. And there's really a very large difference between these two systems. And, generally constructed wetlands of the sort that they're talking about putting in are used in dense urban areas or where there's industrial facilities and such like that. They don't rely on the kind of water filtration that's generally occurring through natural systems. They don't provide any flood protection. They don't provide erosion protection. The benefits to wildlife are limited, and it doesn't capture and store carbon in soil and plants. So there's really no contest between the two. Engineered wetlands are simply not a natural approach, and there's no basis for calling it improvements in nature. So there's a better way, and it's really starting with source protection. Go find where the pollution is and treat it there. And, use distributed green infrastructure where it belongs, bioswales, canopy, soil health, rain gardens, permeable surfaces. Make the whole watershed part of dealing with the issue of cleaning up the water. and make residents and tribal representatives co-designers, not passive victims. So why does this matter to the Arroyo Seco Los Angeles River restoration? The restoration is really absolutely a key part of the LA River recovery system. And if steelhead are going to come back, they need cool, clean water. They need natural stream complexity and not more fragmentation and barriers. San Rafael and San Pascual should really be stepping stones in restoring the Arroyo Seco and not isolated cells on a wounded system. As I mentioned before, the LA City Charter prohibits the use of designated parkland for non-park uses, but LA has been really shunted aside and treated as if they're not even really participants in the process here. There's been no Los Angeles meetings. There's been no literature in Spanish until the most recent time. Very few residents have been notified. There's not been a serious engagement with the San Pascual community. And that community should not have to trade nature for a project calling itself nature-based. Nor should a disadvantaged community have to bear the pollution burden for privileged upstream communities. I want to salute Clara Solis, a San Pascual activist who loves wetlands and creatures, who sued Pasadena because of the very inadequate environmental study. And she forced Pasadena to prepare a full environmental report, which is the draft of which is now available for public comments due by August 1st. With regard to LA sustainability work, there's a lot of work with regard to sustainability and biodiversity in LA. And water is an essential, critical part of it. It emphasizes stakeholder engagement, local reporting, environmental preservation, leaving no one behind. And even the Safe Clean Water Program, which is the main funder of the Arroyo Seco Water Reuse Project, it funds water quality, local supply, and community benefits. It's allocated more than $9 million for this project, but they list 3 priorities, none of which are reflected adequately in the project that Pasadena and South Pasadena have proposed. Number 1, nature-based solutions. 2, biodiversity. There's nothing in here that promotes biodiversity. And community engagement. Well, you've heard the story about how Los Angeles and the Gabrielino Quiche have been shut out of really meaningful dialogue and engagement in the planning process. A project that harms parkland, sidelines local residents, and substitutes artificial wetlands for natural treasures fails the spirit of those goals. I want to point out something that probably a lot of you don't know, but there's thousands of trout in the Arroyo Seco. Most of them are up in the mountains. The last time the Department of Fish and Wildlife did a study a year ago, they estimated that there were about 4,000 trout, rainbow trout. This is the freshwater version of the steelhead. And if these trout could get to the Los Angeles River and to the Pacific Ocean, they would become steelhead. And they would go through a wondrous transformation in order to restore the endangered southern steelhead to the Arroyo Seco and to the Los Angeles River. So we really are working to restore the Arroyo Seco, make it a living river, a vital part of the Los Angeles River. And bringing back the steelhead is the definitive test of the health and the best legacy that we can leave to future generations. I say 3 cheers. I stand in solidarity with the neighbors from San Pascual, who have done such a good job of raising key issues. They asked the question that officials should have asked first. What land will be used? What is really being reused? What benefits and who bears the impacts? Why not fix pollution at the source? Why not restore the Arroyo Seco? This is an outstanding example that all of us who live in Los Angeles area should view as a determined campaign and a model for neighborhood climate democracy. This community is fighting for the future. Look at all the opposition. These are the groups, starting with Council Member Isabel Jurado, but including the Quiche, the Stewards of the Arroyo Seco, and scores of other groups, including lots of neighborhood councils, environmental groups, bird watchers, hikers, and all sorts of other people who love the Arroyo, and more than 4,000 individuals who have signed petitions from the community. So I ask the neighborhood council, neighborhood Sustainability Alliance. Sorry, I
We
got
have
the
a
name.
terribly difficult name that
I'm sorry.
as you now know, we fight about amongst ourselves.
Well, no, this was my mistake. And so say, here's what I think you should do. You should insist upon a sustainable, climate resilient solution. Look at that aging old channel. It's not going to last for long. The channel itself is not sustainable. So why do we put band-aids on it? We need to be restoring the Arroyo Seco. So we look for a source protection and a San Rafael Creek restoration alternative. Protect San Pascual Park and any LA park from conversion to industrial infrastructure. LA is sadly park poor. And so why are we going to allow this conversion to industrial infrastructures? And if it occurs, it's going to occur in other places as well. Support meaningful tribal consultation and impacted community co-design, and align the project with LA River steelhead recovery, biodiversity, and true watershed restoration. We urge you to support clean water and stream restoration like we do. Demand the better way. And with that, I'll wrap up by saying that real restoration is the goal here, not phony band-aids on engineering projects. Clean San Rafael Creek at the source, upgrade the San Pascual wetland, restore the Arroyo Seco for the LA River, for steelhead, and for future generations. Thanks very much for the opportunity to speak to you, and I look forward to any questions you may have.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tim. Yes, we gave you extra time, and I was the worst timekeeper imaginable. So I hope you did not notice my texts. And
oh, I'm sorry. The time it didn't show
because I was doing a terrible job.
I was an innocent wrongdoer.
Well, there you go. Okay, we're going to go next to Jens, and I should add a couple of things. He stepped up very recently, very last minute. Because ActiveSGV withdrew from participation, and I did try to get the city of Pasadena and then the city of South Pasadena to participate, but they were not available. So I am really grateful to Jens for agreeing to join more recently than you folks might imagine. So thank you, Jens. Again, I'm very grateful to you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Just doing a sound check. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're coming through loud and clear. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Lisa, for inviting me. And thank you, Tim, for a great presentation. Very informative. And thank you, everyone, for attending. This is my first kind of event like this. So this is going to be exciting. I'm a Garvanza resident. I was, I should say that I'm a board member of the Historic Highland Park Neighborhood Council, but I'm only speaking on behalf of myself, and I'm also not speaking on behalf of any other organization. So these are all of my perspectives. I lived in Los Angeles since 2002, and before that, I lived in Sweden, where I was born and raised. I grew up in a rural area, and I played a lot in forests there. Took care of some animals. I have two kids. They're young kids, 4 and 6. And our son will be, he's enrolled to start at San Pascual Steam Magnet Elementary School in 1 month exactly. So we're excited about that. That is our neighborhood school. Tim, this may not be the most memorable encounter to you, but we met at the San Pascual site in 2002. I was there with my son, he hadn't yet turned 2, and we go to Arroyo Park a lot because it's a great shaded park, great sycamores. So we were playing there, and then I noticed that a crew of official-looking guys, and well, you turn out to be one of them because whenever I see official-looking guys, I go up and ask, "Hey, what's happening?" Because I'm a curious neighborhood council type person. I always want to learn what's going on. And Tim very graciously shared with me about the site. I had no idea that it was there and that it was actually a stream diversion there. So I was excited to explore it, and I, at a later visit, brought my son in there, and we'll come back to that in a moment. But that's how I found out how I became aware of this the site, and that kind of started my journey of learning more about this project. And this is how I followed it and tracked it, and brings us to today, basically. Um, so I figured I'll start with talking about the location, history, and current conditions. Tim covered a lot of this already, but I'm going to bring up as the official side of City of Los Angeles here. So I'm just going to share my screen. All right. Let's see if I can get myself in this photo here. You guys see me down there too? All right.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that, but it's a little freaky and very clever.
I got magic. Okay, so all right, so here's our great city and its neighbors. City of Los Angeles. This is the Navigate LA, the City of Los Angeles Public Works site. So I'm going to zoom in. Here we have Highland Park, Garvanza up here, and here we have the site of interest. This purple boundary here, that's the city boundary. So on our right over here, let's see, point. Oh yeah. Anyways, this is South Pasadena, and Los Angeles is on this side. By the way, you can see my cursor, right?
Yes.
Okay. So just establishing where we are, and I'm going to turn on a photo so we can see what that looks like. Of course, there we go. So Tim showed some aerial photos of this. This is San Pascual site over here.
You know, I'm going to interrupt. I'm seeing some comments in the chat that are bothering me. I want everybody to give our presenter the grace and give him the benefit of the doubt. And honestly, if you don't, right now you're being warned. Thank you.
So a couple of things to point out here. This area here, to the left or to the west of the Arroyo Channel, this is San Pascual Park, as most people know it. And the area of contest in the city of Los Angeles is this half-acre parcel here. And the rest of the site is in the city of South Pasadena. That matters a little bit because it's jurisdictional boundary land here. Other fun trivia is that this is also the boundary line for the county districts, for state assembly, state senate, congressional. So this site sits at a very particular jurisdictional boundary land that's and a lot of the Arroyo is, straddling the borders of cities and other districts, which adds to some of the complications that, and challenges that we see in doing any kind of project around this site. Now, for me, the way I've experienced this area is this area, the contested site, is separated from the rest of San Pascual Park with a chain link fence here along the embankment, the storm or the flood control channel itself, and another chain link fence over here. And then there's a very narrow pedestrian passageway on one side of the San Pascual Bridge. So it makes it, and this is not it's not maintained by the city of Los Angeles in any meaningful way. There's been long-term encampments under the bridge and in this area, and then also encampments on the South Pasadena side over here. So it brings me back to when I started going in there. So it's like, oh, this looks like an incredible area. I went in there with my son, toddler, and got about halfway when we encountered the encampments, and I realized like this is not a great place to be with a small child. So we backed out, and then I returned solo at some later time and realized the extent of the encampments, and then also the fires that have been there a few times. So it appeared to me that this is not an entirely safe place, but I saw the stream and it was like, this is a really awesome space, and it could be really great if it was safer and more accessible. And then I started digging into city records and understand, like, what is this site? And that's when I learned that over here, just north of the bridge, this is where the existing diversion is. You can see this little spot here. This square feature here, I don't know if you're able to see it, but that's where the gate valve control is. And then the pipe, the concrete pipe that feeds into this, feeds the stream, runs here. one notable feature is this line here that shows the original channelization line. This matters because in the 1938 flood, there was significant flooding and actually washed out the old bridge. The channelization was changed at that point. This area has been heavily disturbed through construction over, two channelizations, or the first channelization, and then they redid it. And when you continue down, it's a little hard to see, but at the end of this site, there is a dike or a dam called Garwood Dam. That name, you can see that line down here. So water gets into this area through a concrete pipe. It's held back by a concrete barrier. And on the side here is the existing diversion to the golf course. I don't know exactly when it was put in, but sometimes in the 40s or 50s. You can, so then that runs the half-mile down to the golf course, and it's been supplying water from this retention area since then. So my point there is there is an existing diversion, obviously into the area and then out of the area. And just for orientation back here, this is the Little League fields on the South Pasadena side. This is Arroyo Park with the soccer field and additional baseball field down there. And this is Arroyo Park, where I spend a lot of time with the kids and other family members because it's a great little park to be in. And I should mention, we've also spent a lot of time in San Pascual Park and had birthday parties there and attended many birthday parties at both of these parks. So I spent a lot of time here. All right. So I think we can agree on that we need to address the clean water. Tim said that several times. But the question is, of course, how? I understand some of the concerns with this project, and I have a few myself, but stopping it is not going to stop the harm of the pollution that is currently flowing in the Arroyo. And it's not going to stop the problems that exist at the site today. And if we leave it as is, which seems to be the result, because as far as I can tell, there's not a concrete other proposal for what to do, as in funded and specific project, then we will end up with a site that was probably going to continue to burn the way it has. There have been multiple fires there. And if you go down and you walk the site, and as I have, you see you're greeted by several burnt trees. Some of them are of the older, mature native trees. There's burned oak trees and burned sycamores. And I'm certainly not an expert on trees, but they look pretty severely damaged to me. And you can see some of the limbs are dead on them, as mostly like as a result of the fire. And I think that's that is one of the great challenges that we have here is like, how do we determine what we should do? This project, which is, has a specific design, it is funded. It would reduce the pollution load in the Arroyo. It would remove zinc and E. coli primarily. It would recharge the groundwater. Now, there's some debate about how much of that's going to be, but that is also indeed what's happening now. The water is flowing in. Not all of it's going out. Some of it is going into the ground. It would provide irrigation with reclaimed water. That is ongoing now, but it will be of higher quality. And in the future, perhaps the municipally owned golf course, the city of South Pasadena owns that golf course. If they decide to use it for something else, well, then they would have a supply of higher quality irrigation water as a result of this project. And it would establish a safe and accessible park space. The designs that are proposed would create accessible walk paths for that are ADA compliant. They would have reasonable public safety access. Right now, it's very difficult to get to some parts of the site for firefighting purposes, or if there are other issues on the site. And over time, it would provide improved habitat. There's undoubtedly going to be a significant change as a result of the construction and the removal of of many trees. There is a net gain of trees as a result of the planting plan. So there will be the number of trees after this project will be greater. Of course, it will take time for them to fully establish, but once it's grown in there, because there's the invasive plants that are, some of them are, at risk of choking out some of the natives. Like tree of heaven is a really problematic tree that can cause harm to other trees in its vicinity. They're currently growing there. There's although again, as a non-expert, I also think that the fires seem to be a significant risk with the persistent encampments and just the general fire risk. This is all in the very high fire severity zone. So another key feature of this project is that there is a maintenance plan from the cities, so that this currently, it has been neglected for a long time. And the way I see it is, and I think some of the opposition to this project, we agree that this is the result of a long-term neglect. And I certainly wish that responsibility and stewardship would have been acted on sooner, but it wasn't. And now there is a plan. So I don't see the reason in stopping that. I would think it's better to work with it and see how can we improve it if there are issues with it. And lastly, this is an area that, like I mentioned, it sits at a jurisdictional borderland, and that's not going to change. We're still going to be neighbors with Pasadena, South Pasadena. We're still going to have all these districts intersecting at this point. We are all sharing some very severe challenges. Climate change is making water access more challenging overall. It's making weather patterns more extreme. So we are likely to see more significant storms that would put a higher load on the storm system. Oh, actually, I remembered one thing that I need to mention is that this San Pascual site in particular will capture some of the wet flows, also known as storm flows. So when there's more water in the Arroyo, the two retention basins can capture not all of the water that comes down the Arroyo, because that is quite a lot, but it can capture some of it. So they actually have some buffering capacity to capture more water than just the dry flow. And I think because of this reality of shared challenges, so we have drought from climate change, we have fires linked to drought as well. And independent of climate change, like we are still in a very seismically active zone. And when we have a major earthquake, we're going to see fires and we're going to see all kinds of disruptions to water supply. So I think building relationships and working together across jurisdictions and holding each other accountable is key. And I think there's a lot of accountability to be had. And there's very fair criticisms against Pasadena. They did a very poor job reaching out. They didn't effectively. They did a legal minimum, and they should have done a lot more. And I think we must continue to work with them and hold them accountable to do better in the future. And we must hold ourselves accountable to make sure that we do everything we can from our side of the city of Los Angeles to make sure that we find the projects that we want to drive, the change that we want to see. And I think given the financial circumstances of the city and California and even the nation in general, there are some very unfortunate and challenging constraints that we have to work within. And I think a lot of people who serve on neighborhood councils and on this alliance recognize that there are fundamental challenges or constrictions that we have to work within. And long term, perhaps we can work on making them better, but right now we have what we have. Because the challenges that we face here, drought, fire, seismic, water supply, and the structural challenges of the systems and the cities and the jurisdictions, they will most likely outlive all of us, certainly the ones that are operating on geologic and climate scale. So the way I see it is we're not doing this for ourselves now because some of the fruit will be harvested, they will come much later. You could say we're doing it for the future generation, and I'm certainly doing it the best of them as a father for my kids. But I also know that it goes beyond their lifetimes and demonstrating to future generations that we are able to work and look at the facts. And even though we all have strong feelings and we wish for different outcomes, that we recognize the realistic means at our disposal to affect the changes that we want, so that we actually achieve something now. Because I very strongly believe that it is better to do good now than wait for perfection at some point in the future. And that's really what I see this choice coming down to. If we take action now and stop this, what are we going to do instead? Nothing? Or are we going to take some action now and show that we were able to do something that we can build on? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jens. All right, Tim, would you like to take up to 5 minutes, and I'll try to be a stricter timekeeper to respond?
Thank you. It's just I sense a certain kind of perspective that you presented, Jens, that shows your optimism about what's going to change. And the fact is that I've been dealing with these trying to get maintenance programs in the Arroyo Seco for many years, and we've had some success at various times in the past, but not recently. What's going on right now is that in 2018, the voters passed a Measure W, it's called, and they set up the Safe Clean Water Program. And that program is collecting $280 million a year for people in the Los Angeles area to deal with stormwater capture programs. And this is not a stormwater capture program. You say that sometimes they might get some stormwater. Well, frankly, they don't really have capacity in their diversion system to take up stormwater. Their diversion system maxes out at 15 cubic feet per second of intake. And, a flood or storm would, be at least a couple hundred cubic feet per second and probably a couple thousand cubic feet per second. So, they've been selling these projects based on the view that somehow all of that stormwater is going to be, that goes out to the ocean, they say, is going to be captured. But that's not what's happening. They're presenting these little projects here that take a little bit of dry water flow from streams and drainages, and they treat it a little bit, and they're very expensive. This is a $14 million project already. I've been working on projects for 40 years in the Arroyo, and boy, we were sure happy 20 years ago when we got $3 million for a project. And we really did a lot of good things with that. We brought back the Arroyo Chub, we restored various areas of the Arroyo and all that. Now they're doing a $14 million project, which is basically just a lot of plumbing and pipes and pools. And, you make it sound, really lofty, but ultimately, the goal of destroying the San Pascual wetlands, and it isn't just the LA part of the San Pascual wetlands that's going to get wiped out. So is the South Pasadena part. But you make it sound like, oh, that's a wonderful thing. Well, what are they really doing? They're setting up a reservoir for the golf course. That's how they justify that project. It isn't even really for water quality. Well, they'll get some water quality. The golf course will get cleaner water. But really, It's so that they can enhance the amount of water in the reservoir. So, I don't, we're looking at a very serious, severe future because of climate change. And the sources of water that Southern California has are really imperiled. The Colorado River system, it's scary to learn about what's really going on in the Colorado River, which has been the backbone of Southern California's imported water supply for 80 years. And here we're going to give free water to the South Pasadena golf course because we're nice guys. That's a waste of money. That's corrupt. It really is. And the Safe Clean Water program has lots of other programs like this. And I think they're undercutting their credibility by allowing projects like this that were established in the first days of the program when they didn't have really clear standards about what is a nature-based approach. And, what is how, forget about biodiversity. I mean, there's no mention of biodiversity here. There's no mention of any benefit to fish or wildlife or birds or bats or, any of the wild. I mean, all of that's kind of ignored. They didn't do any serious surveys in the draft environmental impact report. Anybody who thinks it's a good program, please go look at the draft environmental impact report and look at the rigor they present with regard to analyzing environmental impacts. It's very weak. And this flood channel is 80 years old. It's worn out. It's wearing out. It's got structural problems. And they want to store water behind these concrete walls that aren't going to last for very long. So it's not a wise program. It's a very over-engineered program with pipes and plumbing, the easy way to do it, rather than involving the community in a real attempt to better manage water resources and to deal with the realities of climate change and sustainability for the long run.
All right, thank you. Jens, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to respond.
Thanks. I'm going to share my screen again.
Sure.
So this is the Stewards of the Arroyo Seco website, or There's a Better Way page. So this is Mr. Brick's page, and we can scroll down. There's a lot here. And then here we have this area with hire consultant experience in nature-based solutions. Down here, there's a link to the Stillwater scientists. They have a report, proposed a comprehensive and professional approach to the project that will be award-winning. So this is a study and a report from 2019. I encourage you to read this one, which Mr. Brick lauds as award-winning. We just go down here a little bit. It looks at the same area and look what the kind of the flooding that would occur if you dechannelize and so forth. And then we get down to section 3, San Pascual Stables and Arroyo Park. It identifies that there's an opportunity to improve, like do a point reduction of the E. coli from the stables. And then we get into talking about habitat creation here in this report. Here are the restoring the native habitat by making sure that we have the right types of plants, and then listing the ones that we should remove, notably Mexican fan palm, and then suggesting TMDL, that's the total maximum daily load, basically how much pollution can we tolerate per day, how do we address that, and the stretch here could be improved and retrofitted with BMP. So BMP is best management practice. That is jargon for these types of systems that are proposed at the Arroyo Seco water use site. So you put in a trash separator, you might put in a particulate separator, and then you have constructed wetlands where you have vegetation that helps deal with the bacteria, and then you have some infiltration sometimes. Different ways of doing it. At Garvanza Park, for instance, there's a totally underground structure that captures flow from the hills there, and it goes in during storm events. And then there's regional trade connectivity, opportunity to connect to upstream trail networks, and so to create trails. The Arroyo Seco Water Use Project essentially does these things. In the report that Mr. Brick himself endorsed and lauded as, award-winning. I'm not sure why he is opposing a project that carries his own endorsement in many regards. There certainly are, like I said, there are definitely opportunities to make it better. I don't see how we're achieving that by stopping it. There was a lawsuit that Tim mentioned to get the EIR, the full EIR, and we have a full EIR, but now there's a very strong push to close down the project by getting the city of Los Angeles to refuse working with the cities of Pasadena and South Pasadena through the CEQA mandated EIR process. This is where, again, I come back to what are we supposed to do instead? And yes, you said you see that I seem optimistic. I am. I'm very optimistic. And I define optimism as being committed to the belief that we can and will make things better because we choose to make them so. I know, sounds a little corny sometimes, a little hokey, but I very strongly believe that because the alternative is too dark. And I was probably I may regret sharing this, but at a recent site walk through the site and I saw the burned trees. I was reminded of an event that I experienced that involved the death of a homeless person as the result of fire. And I know that we have encampment fires all the time. We're going to have them again at this site and other sites. It's a very complicated issue, but that's, I think, part of one of my drivers is that this fire risk is a risk to the individuals who have to live in these absolutely deplorable conditions. And it poses a tremendous risk to our neighborhood. I have many friends who lived, I say lived past tense, in Altadena. I don't know if you've been up there, but that is what neighborhood destruction looks like. I'm not saying it's happening, it's going to happen here, but we're just one wind-driven dry event away and some ignition point, and we have a lot of fuel there. We have a lot of fuel in many other places of the neighborhood too. We have plenty of issues to deal with. So I choose to believe that we can make some improvements. And if you've been at it for 40 years to work on this total restoration of the Arroyo and removing the concrete, it's obviously still there. How long should we wait to achieve a nebulously defined goal? It would take enormous financial resources, political capital, and we talk about community resistance. We're talking about a few acres here. The entire stretch of the Arroyo, that would also probably have to involve eminent domain because we have built metropolitan Los Angeles, or certainly parts of our neighborhoods, on the assumption that we have a flood control system. If we remove that, or if we have to widen the flood area, that's going to affect a bunch of homes and other infrastructure. We're going to have to manage it in some way. It's completely irresponsible to say anything else because it would have catastrophic consequences. The 1938 flood was bad. We don't know if we're going to have an event like that, but statistically, we probably are, where the patterns are getting more severe. So I come back to, if not this, if not now, then what and when and for whom? I think it's important that we have clear alternatives to choose between. And right now we have one specific project, flawed as it may be, but it is something that can be built and implemented and have some real consequences. The choice to abandon or oppose, stop this project is not consequence-free. The harm of the continuing pollution will continue. The harm that could follow from catastrophic fire is also still present. And if anything, we've decreased our civic capacity by infusing a lot of acrimony into this process. It makes it more difficult to achieve things in the future, which we must. As tough as that is to accept, changes are being forced on us on a climate and water level. And yes, you're right. The Colorado River is not going to be able to supply us with water to the same extent that it has. So why are we actively then working to stop efforts to recharge the aquifer. I know this project certainly isn't going to solve that problem,
That's for
but
sure.
I'm sure we can learn something from it and we can make some incremental improvement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think I like the way Jens set up at least a perception of our dilemma, the dilemma in front of us. Board members, if you could unspotlight Tim and Jens, that would be helpful. And I will open it up to questions and comments in the chat. Just so you know, I think one person has been removed. So most of you, I think, have been very well, I was going to say well behaved, but that sounds so patronizing. So apologies. I'll try to be, I'll try not to be patronizing. But thank you for being a collaborative as maybe and constructive, and having a constructive conversation in the chat is probably a better way to say it. But not everybody was able to do it, but most of you have been able to. So we'll open it up. I know, see, we already only have 20 minutes left-ish. We can go a little bit past 8, but so let's see how it goes. And I'm already anxious about time, as I knew I would be. We'll start with Yael. And so everybody, please be succinct and please introduce yourself before you share your question or comment.
Yael Pardes. I want to respond to Jens by asking Tim a question.
That's allowed. That's allowed.
Jens is talking about water infiltration and replenishing the aquifer. Tim, please highlight, enlighten all of us about the problems that we have discovered that, oh, actually Ken is here. Ken can respond about the issues with infiltration and how much in reality will go down.
You can ask, I mean, you
Well,
can
yeah.
ask Ken to respond if, I mean,
Yes,
that's allowed
no,
too.
Ken and Tim.
Let me defer to Ken because he has great expertise in this area. I do as well, but I'd love to involve Ken in the discussion.
And Ken, you are muted.
The problem with the project is that it's
And Ken,
going
please
to
introduce yourself.
I'm sorry, Ken Cools. I'm a Pasadena resident. I'm a licensed civil engineer. The problem with the project is that it's going to be introducing larger amounts of water to the ponds than have been historically diverted. And there's a potential for that contaminated water that's being diverted to infiltrate and contaminate the groundwater in the area. Additionally, the additional water will cause increased hydrostatic pressure behind the Arroyo Seco channel wall that has the potential to do damage to the wall. Both of these risks will create liabilities, and the city, in allowing its land to be used for the diversion and the pumping facilities, will have to assume some of that liability if in fact it does occur. And that's a concern.
Could you, sorry, but could you, what is hydrostatic pressure?
If you think of a boat is held up by hydrostatic pressure. The boat is empty and is surrounded by water, and the water pushes the boat up. And in the case of the San Pascual channel portion, it has the potential to do damage to the concrete. And think of the channel as floating and perhaps uplifting. And that's the potential problem there. The groundwater issue is that there's no what's called vadosome. There's no discontinuity between the surface water and the groundwater. Whatever is introduced in the surface will immediately go into the groundwater without any bioremediation, and it'll contaminate the groundwater.
Okay, that was a little over my head, so it might have been a little over other people's heads.
It's in my DEIR comments.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Mark.
Thank you, Lisa. My name is Mark Forbes.
Lisa, before Mark goes, I just want to say Jens had his hand up to kind of respond to the question, which I think.
Oh, yes, that's fine. Go. Oh, thank you, Charles. Thank you, Jens. Go ahead.
A follow-up question to Ken. The current conditions My understanding is that the pipe that diverts water into the current site or the site as it is, the same pipe is intended to be used by the new project. I could be wrong, but that's my understanding. So I would imagine that the amount of water that can go through that pipe in a given time is going to be the same. So during storm events, and I've been down at the site, there's a lot more water flowing into the site, and I've seen it reach, the top of the dike because, and occasionally, like during the really big storms, it's filled up and overtopped the Garwood Dam. So my question is, aren't the same issues present currently? Because that area could take up a similar amount of water, or a comparable perhaps. And I could be wrong. I'm definitely not a civil engineer. I study computer science, so that's I regret that now, but because it's civil engineering is much cooler. But here we are.
Well, if I can respond,
Yes.
yes, you're right. The current diversion does cause the wetted area in the pond. However, the proposed version will include pumps that will allow more water to be diverted and discharged into the pond area. And the pond actually will increase its elevation by 5 feet. So what you see now is being maybe 1 or 2 feet of pond area. That'll be 5 feet higher. And if you were to do the sounding of the channel, which I've done in the field to check the channel is already being affected by the current diversions. There are some problems with the integrity of the channel.
And that presumably has been in place since it was constructed in the 30s. So it's
It
been
was
there for
constructed
80
in the
years.
40s.
Okay, so but still 80 years.
But
So
but
when it reaches the top of Garwood Dam, it adds several feet, right? I'm just want to make sure I understand that correctly, right?
that existing what I call a spillway is, I think the ponding is about a foot and a half, and the surcharge with the new pond will be 5 feet higher. So you have much more hydrostatic pressure.
All right. Thank you. Mark.
Thank you, Lisa. First, I'd like to thank you and Charles personally for having this meeting. I really appreciate both of you taking this on. This is obviously a very highly contested project, and there are a number of opponents to this, one of them being myself.
And please introduce yourself, speaking of yourself.
Of course. My name is Mark Forbes. I am a member of the Highland Park Neighborhood Council. I am also the chair of the Environmental Committee, as well as a true advisor for zero waste through the USGBC. However, tonight I am speaking as an individual and not on behalf of the Neighborhood Council. This project has a number of issues. It's not just about water or the death of the wildlife that would happen or the trees. This is a steal of Los Angeles parkland for Pasadena and South Pasadena's benefit. It's a steal of water as well. We're talking about a large amount of water. And while one of my mentors, Tim Brick, who has taught me a huge amount of water issues in Los Angeles, we're talking about something in the neighborhood of 200 million gallons a year of water. 20 million gallons of this water from an oversubscribed stream will be going to the South Pasadena Golf Course. To give you a sense of how much that is, if you took something that's the size of a football field, that's 62 feet deep. That is the amount of water that would be going to a golf course. We've brought up to Pasadena, why are they not building a water recycling plant to address this? Is quite frankly beyond me. To take water from a living stream rather than using recycled water on a recreational area that would be safe and easy to use is not being addressed. The number of issues is multivariate. For those of you that have read the draft environmental impact report, which is, I think, 440 pages. It's a great snooze read if you need to go to sleep. And another 600 pages of addendums, et cetera, which I have gone through. There are so many inconsistencies in this. It's disturbing, and these are in the EIR comments. The project has actually changed shape since the mitigated negative declaration was produced. There are inconsistencies in the number of trees they're going to cut down. Like, I can go on and on about this, but it's concerning, especially in terms of the lack of planning and maintenance over the life of this. Just to understand, they have gone from a 30-year lease from Los Angeles of this land in the San Pascual site to virtually an unlimited lease on this land. It's true, the land has not been kept up well. South Pasadena has done an extremely poor job of keeping this cleaned and a place for people to walk through. Homelessness, of course, is a problem. We have had a local arson in Highland Park that have burned down buildings in this area, as well as setting fires in the parks. So that's something that's well known. This person is still at large. These will not be solved by building a large reservoir of water, using that water, holding that water for Pasadena's purposes, which have also not been disclosed at large in the IR project. So I'm happy to talk to anybody about this. I'm quite pleased that the Sustainability Alliance has decided to take this on. I see very, very many familiar faces here. And I really appreciate the time to be able to speak on this and bring this kind of attention to Northeast Los Angeles. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Charming.
Yes, hi everyone. Charming Evelyn. I chair the Water Committee for Sierra Club, and I'm also the vice chair for the Environmental and Social Justice Committee. And so there are lots of people here that can speak to water, although yes, that is one of my focal points. But I'm actually going to address the environmental and social justice issue, because I haven't heard anything about environmental justice here. And so, Jens, I appreciate your presentation. However, when we are looking at unhoused people and we are looking at them as if they are the problem and not thinking about what the solutions are, that is an issue, because we are talking about people. And we're talking about people who do not have a safe place for them to go, for them to live, and that is where they are. So we should not be addressing them as if they are the problem, because they are not really the problem. Our cities, our city charters, our politicians, they are the issue, and they have to fix the unhoused problem. And pay attention to the words that I used. Unhoused. Okay? So making that a condition to do this project is very unfair, who do not have a place to go, who do not have the same resources that the rest of us do. And so that's one of the things. The other thing, again, e.g., the trees and that area, and I know the area very well, even though I don't live there, because I had a friend who actually lived in that area, and source water came down from the hills onto her property, crossed the road, and went into that park. So I am very, very familiar with the area. You are looking at the trees and that area actually do something for an under-resourced and underserved areas in terms of reducing noise pollution and reducing air quality. So pollution. And so these are these are three things that you really have to take into consideration, that when we are talking about projects, it's not just let's go and dig up a project. Then you have more EJ issues when you have all of this digging and all of this dust pollution that's going to occur with all of these trucks moving dust and dirt through the neighborhoods. That is also an issue. So, there are lots of things I could complain about, and let's talk about Native American voices. I loved hearing you say that this is about the future of your children. You would like something for them to have. Well, here's the thing. Without Native Americans, we would not inherit the land that we are sitting on today. For us to actually sit down here and argue and have a discussion about what to do with this piece of land. Their voices should absolutely be at the table. And we cannot ignore them and say, let us do this, but ignore the people who actually gave us this land that we are now all occupying. So I loved hearing you say that, but remember, there were great stewards of the land before we came on board. And, it's very important. If they say it's a sacred place, for us to actually respect that. And I think if you got to know more of the Native Americans and actually listen to why it is a sacred place, you will have even more respect and really more about thinking about the generations. The Native Americans believe that they must plan for 7 generations ahead. So a nature-based solution is 7 generations ahead. And there are solutions that have been proposed. If you actually go on the Pasadena website, they tell you they did look at nature-based solutions, but they find it's too much trouble to go back and actually do the work. That is under the frequently asked questions. And so you can go on the website and actually take a look at it. And I see somebody spoke about consulting Native Americans in the job that I do. I actually work with tribal nations. Checking off a box and speaking to them once is not consultation. So let's be true about what consultation is with Native Americans. If you send them an email and they don't respond, that is not consultation. So, and just want to remind everyone, there is an environmental and social justice impact, and we should consider that. Thank you.
All right, and Jens, I saw it be in our text thread that you were raising your hand, but I might not have seen it otherwise, just so you know. So I don't know if you wanted to respond to Mark or Charming, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, my follow-up is for Mark, but first I want to say thank you, Charming, for sharing. You can see what I look like. I told you where I'm from. So I have no depth or expertise in this area, and I'm always eager to learn, and I'm trying my best. Obviously, it's never going to be enough by my own standards. So Mark mentioned that the draft EIR is a real snooze fest. Mr. Brick laid out some heavy expertise. Ken Cools did the same. There's a lot of big words and big numbers and lots of complicated. This is very technical. These are very technical issues. And we also, as we know, like there's always going to be environmental justice concerns, and they are even more complex because we're talking about human relationships, social, and they go deep, hundreds of years. Therefore, I encourage everyone, because I know you are all independently thinking, critical individuals, that you can take on the challenge of penetrating these documents for yourselves. There are tools to help you with that. There are other people who are not on a specific advocacy side. I encourage you to read it, ask questions. And yes, I got one paragraph in, then I started having a lot of questions. But we have this incredible tool in the internet and all the services that are available there. It won't get you all the way. It won't make you an expert, but you can get a decent distance. And so I encourage you think critically about this. Even though there are a lot of really valid points made, there are also a lot of points made that are not, they're valid insofar that it's a person's perspective, but they may not be totally rooted in fact. And I encourage you to do your best, as I'm trying to do. And I know I'm going to go wrong all the time. And such is the nature of being a human. We will make mistakes and we will learn and we'll move forward. And that's why I'm an optimist that we can do it. And I should have mentioned something earlier. I'm available and I'm happy to anybody who wants to reach out to the organizers to provide my contact information. I'll be happy to meet you at the site. We can walk. I want to hear more of your perspectives. I always find it's better to do it in person. I find that it's usually more conducive for a meaningful exchange if it's done on a one-on-one or a smaller group basis. When it's me and then there's a large contingent of opposition, the conversation is not as insightful. But I'd be very happy to meet around, because I strongly encourage everyone, go down, see the current site conditions for yourself, walk end to end from the intake to the current dike before you make up your minds on this issue. And read the DAEIR and put the two together with some critical thinking. I know you can do it.
All right, thank you. The person with the phone number.
Steve.
Sorry?
His
Hello.
name is Steve.
Somebody
Yeah,
names
yeah,
it Steve?
Yeah, can you hear me? What's the phone number or whatever?
Well, there's only one
Okay,
person
so-
with a phone number, so. if
Okay,
you-
well that would be me. Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
You
Steve
can-
Crouch. I'm on the Highland Park Neighborhood Council and I'm on the Environmental Committee. But of course, as Mark said, speaking independently. I don't really quite. Okay, first of all, Jens really doesn't live near the area. Garvanza. Okay, people. San
Okay, I
Pascual
don't, so
Valley is
sorry. No, sorry, I mean, if you're going to attack our presenter, I'm
No,
really not
no. Okay,
interested.
I'm sorry. Okay, so listen. So.
Okay, why don't we do a do-over? Why don't you introduce
Oh,
yourself?
okay,
and-
hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. Please, let me say something here. Okay, so anybody. Okay, so yeah, you threw me off track here. Okay, so I can't really imagine why any Los Angeles resident would be for this. There is nothing in this for the city of Los Angeles. I mean, South Pasadena and Pasadena must be playing us for suckers. I mean, we're not going to get any of the water. Our parks aren't going to get any of the water. It's going to impact hundreds of residents in the immediate area, all in Los Angeles. There's going to be 10 in South Pasadena who might be affected by this. With the increased glare coming in, flowing in, the massive increase in glare from the South Pasadena sports fields, and they keep their lights on, but 10, 11 o'clock at night. So like I said, there's virtually nothing. Sorry, you threw me off here. So yeah, there's nothing. I don't know why LA residents would. Virtually everybody around that site, just dreading this thing that's happening, because you take down the trees and you're going to have a massive influx of glare and noise also from there, which we're buffered currently from. So now the DEIR skillfully omitted any discussion of the impact on residents, on the LA residents specifically. Of course, I guess the South Pasadena and Pasadena get what they pay for in an EIR. So I just want to say that the San Pascual Valley is not really considered part of Garvanza. So if someone says they're from Garvanza, I mean, they don't really.
I'm getting.
Okay, wait. I want to say one thing. This is very important. I want to say one thing.
You can say one important
No,
thing.
nature-based. I want to say nature-based solutions. Okay, so the Sustainability Alliance is obviously for any nature-based solution. So we have these. We've had a huge gopher problem in the San Pascual Park on our side, and for the past several years, these blue herons have been coming in. They're based on the San Pascual site across the river, the area in contention. They're the most efficient gopher killing machines. They're unbelievable. I mean, I saw one of them get 3 gophers in 15 minutes one time. and I saw one get a large gopher. It couldn't swallow it, so it cut it in half. I mean, it's just truly amazing, basically. And so they're vastly more efficient than the feeble attempts at gopher control that you've seen from city workers, basically. Not that they try hard, but these birds are unbelievable. And so the San Pascual Park is vastly better now. And another thing, when they're mowing, and it saves wear and tear on blades, because, you know, I mean, when they're mowing the park, I mean, they formerly would just plow through the gopher mounds, and that can't be very good for the longevity of blades. So, I mean, this is the ultimate, unbelievably successful nature-based solution. And it's incomprehensible. I mean, like I said, there's nothing in sort of city of Los Angeles. I mean, but okay. The one last point I want to make is that this invasive species invasiveness. I mean, it's a relative term. It's like it's actually a Eurocentric term. I mean, and they point out, okay, so there's introduced, and then there's invasive. Invasive, I guess, is anything you don't like. Introduced. I mean, the Mexican fan palms were introduced. Eucalyptus were introduced. And now the fan palms. I mean, but if the Indians had, the indigenous had introduced in 1768, you know, and then the Spanish came in 1769, they'd be considered, you know, native basically. But since they weren't there, I mean, but they're native not that far away basically, and they could have got up here in time, essentially. So, I mean, these fan palms are beautiful. I mean, they just the Mexican fan palm, they look totally natural. It's a beautiful setting, you know, beautiful to behold. And the plans the plans, it's incomprehensible. I mean, something completely unimaginative, landscaping that's cliche ridden, that you've seen 1,000 times, basically, to replace a jewel like this with something. I mean, it's incomprehensible. But the point I'm trying to make is that there is nothing in this sort of city of Los Angeles. And anybody city, I mean, why wouldn't anybody in the city of Los Angeles want something like this?
Okay.
I mean, okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you,
Steve. Okay, I am being admonished by my board that I need to ask everybody, including the presenters, to be more succinct. Also, it's 8:06. So we have a few more hands. I hope nobody else raises their hands. Please actually do not raise your hand. We don't have capacity for more speakers. And Jens, I'm sorry, but you cannot respond to every speaker, because these are just comments. So if you could make a quick response, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, two quick things. What the city of Los Angeles, the one issue that's raised, that city of Los Angeles doesn't get any water for its parks. The city of Los Angeles is currently diverting water at Sycamore Grove Park into the sewer system with the Sycamore Grove master plan currently in bidding. There's a great opportunity to capture some of that water and do solutions at the park. Daylighting, I know several people here were involved in previous efforts to prevent the current solution from becoming reality. I think we have an opportunity for a do-over, so that's a great chance. The herons, yes, I think it's pretty clear that they are thriving just fine. There's, thanks to the city of Los Angeles, management and upkeep challenges. There's plenty of food for them. I'm not too concerned about them when it comes to the changes at the San Pascual site. I know it's the chosen mascot of the opposition, but they're the most metal birds I've ever seen in action, spearing those gophers right through the skull. So yeah, it's a sight to behold. Thanks.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm texting a board member. Alex, are you in the wrong thread again?
Oh, sorry. I'll fix that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, keep it in the other thread, because I need the speakers to know. And I defer to you, Alex. Thank you. Okay, Monica or Monica.
Hi, thank you. I do have a
And
question.
introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Monica. I live in Highland Park.
Thank you.
I've only lived in Highland Park all my life. I'm an activist as well for different things. I work in homelessness, so I understand that's a totally separate issue. But I do want to ask, Jens had said that Tim was in favor of this project and is no longer in favor of this project.
No, he did not say that. He did not say that. That is an
Oh,
inaccurate representation of what he said.
oh, that I
No.
thought that's what I heard.
No, he said he was in favor that elements from, I think, a 2019 proposal were reflected in this project. And he was pointing that out.
Okay, so I just wanted to get clarification on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
of why
I
if he
appreciate,
would
right.
have, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it. I'm against the
Okay.
project, just so you know.
Oh, what'd you say?
I said I'm against the project.
Yes, I picked up
I
on
do,
that from your chat, from the
yeah, I
chat.
just do want to uplift the fact of that the Keys Nation is asking for full avoidance. And let's remember that, again, it's the erasure of a tribe, this sacred land. People are buried there, and I think we need to listen to that. And the fires, in Altadena was started by the electric company. So again, awful thing that happened, but I think there's other issues and in environmental injustice things that are happening, and we need to uplift those too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate your asking for the clarification, and I'm glad I was able to be of assistance. Okay, thank you. And RP.
Well, my name is Roy.
Oh,
and I'm,
Clara, I forget how you pronounce it. Did I miss you or how?
Let Roy go first. It's fine.
Okay, and then we can come back to you. I apologize if I screwed that up. Go ahead, RP, or Roy, I'm learning.
Thank you, Claire. Again, my name is Roy Payan, and I'm a board member of the Arroyo Seco Neighborhood Council. I'm speaking on my own behalf right now, and I'm also president of the Northeast Los Angeles Save Our Undeveloped Lands. I've heard this presentation from the opposition several times. Not one mention is in there about this project mitigating homelessness or fires at all. They talk about fires, they talk about homeless, but nothing in there is mentioned about how they're going to mitigate that at all. So that point to me is mute. It's not concerned here because again, they're not addressing that issue. Second of all, I think their exaggeration about how many fires have occurred there is extremely exaggerated. And the third thing I'd like to ask is this. Okay, I'm offended by this project like I've told many people before, because if you look throughout history, people from foreign countries came here. They took our land. They took our language. They took our names. They attempted to take our children, and they attempted to take our culture and our history. Now they're attempting to take our water and even our dead. Understand something. Indian people are buried there. This is not a falsehood. This is on record. The Quiche Nation has already submitted an avoidance claim because, again, our dead are buried there. They've submitted their records to South Pasadena. So when South Pasadena and Pasadena say we've consulted with the nation, they have not. To say, well, we sent out a letter. Sending out a letter is not the same as consulting. They can reach out to the nation and consult, but they have not attempted to do that because they know that under AB 52 CEQA, they would be stopped. Because when the full avoidance there gets submitted, it tells you to stop. We have buried people there. How would you feel if foreigners came from another land and they came in and they said, well, you know what? There's a nice cemetery over here that's being used for veterans of World War I and Vietnam, but you know what? We think our golf course is more important. How would you feel then? That's what they're doing to us. You want a golf course? Pasadena and South Pasadena have 11 other golf courses. Go there. Don't use this land. Again, this is indigenous land. Respect it. Respect us. Stop this project already.
Okay, I have a clarifying question about that. And I guess I can ask because I haven't asked a question yet. And you're the first person to actually raise that explicitly, Roy. My understanding, and I could be wrong, is that it's not like virgin undisturbed land. So that I've been confused about that point because I thought if people had been buried there, that land has already previously been disturbed. So could you address that point for me?
Yes, because AB 52 CEQA was only passed a few years ago. Before that, they didn't consult the nations at all. So how can we protect the land without the protections being in place to help us protect them? This has been going on. This colonialization of Indian lands has been going on for decades and centuries now. This is not new. This is not new starts. It's been going on. So again, we have people buried throughout different areas because we had communities there, we had communes there, we had villages there. So yes, you're going to find artifacts there. You're going to find artifacts in Eagle Rock, in Montecito Heights, on Flat Top, throughout. So yes, it's not virgin land because they've already dug up a lot of our ancestors.
So I see. I think I'm understanding now. So even though it's been disturbed, you still don't want it to be disturbed again. Is that correct?
Would you want somebody to come and build a golf course on top of your people?
Well, I don't, I mean,
It's a very simple question. Would you allow people to come and build a golf course on top of your people simply for their enjoyment, simply for the enjoyment of a few affluent people?
I guess if the land had already been disturbed, I don't know. I haven't thought about it, frankly.
Again, if your people are buried, would you allow somebody from a foreign country to come in and do this to you? It's not a hard question.
I would have to know, because I thought that that if people had been buried there, they wouldn't. I guess I had been assuming that if people had been buried there, their bodies were no longer there.
No, they've been there. We've shown them records. They've under AB 52 CEQA, the nation has to submit record to the state saying we have buried people here.
And they might still be there, is what you're saying.
We're seeking a full. No, not that they might still be there.
That they are still there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's helpful. No, I don't think I would. Appreciate that. Jens, because I engaged, I'll let you. Yes, go ahead. And I realize it's 8:15, and that's a problem.
Is he going to answer every
minor
question?
clarification.
Roy, please. I engaged, and so I think it's fair because this is one of the core issues, right? And so I think it's fair to let him to respond, and then we only have one thing left, and then we'll have to figure out what to do because it's 8:15. So yes, I think it's, and I've been asking everybody to be respectful, and I'm going to ask you to be respectful, Roy. I think that's the right thing to do.
I just have a very quick clarification. My understanding is that they're not proposing to build a golf course at the Arroyo Seco water use project.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's not. You're right. Thank you, Jens. We're not talking about building a golf course there. So you're right. Thank you, Jens, for clarifying. Okay, Angelo.
Angelo, I was next.
You put your hand down, so I thought you
No,
weren't.
I didn't do it. I don't know how it got down.
Okay.
It was an accident.
Okay. Okay, so I thought we had only one, but we have two. All right, Clara.
Okay.
And introduce yourself.
Clara Solis. I'm from Highland Park. I'm the one who sued the city of South Pasadena, and they've admitted already that they have errors in their DEIR. They have errors in their MND. And I just wanted to clarify something with what you were saying. Like Roy said, the quiche have documented proof, documented evidence that they submitted to the city of South Pasadena.
Okay.
And no matter what the DEIR says, we have the letter, and I put it in the chat, that Chief Solis has asked, and the quiche have asked for full avoidance of this area. And Chief Solis has stated there are burials there. Okay. I think we take their word, plus enough. They have evidence of it. I'm just going to ask a real quick question of either Tim or Ken Cools. One of the concerns I saw was that there could be groundwater contamination from this project. I was wondering if either Ken or Tim could talk about that. Is Ken still here?
Ken's still here?
Yes, he is, but he is, I see, you're right. It's just his face, so maybe he's not there. Ken, have you left us? Were we too much for you?
Ken,
all right.
Ken did point out,
Tim, go ahead.
Ken pointed out when he spoke that there's actually a high groundwater level in that area, and that the flood channel is kind of sitting on top of that, And if you add a lot more water, it's going to increase the pressure on the flood channel. And if you go look and examine the flood channel, you'll see that there are structural problems with regard to the flood channel itself. So it's very clear that any massive increase in the amount of water that's taken, particularly out of the Arroyo Seco channel, a lot of that has potential to really contaminate the groundwater level in a way that'll be hard to fix.
May I think Mr. Brick did not, as far as I understand it, answer or the question that Clara actually asked about contamination of groundwater. I don't think the contamination is going to cause those hydrostatic pressure issues. I wish Mr. Cools was here to elucidate, because the water that is flowing into the site currently goes on a soft bottom that presumably has some infiltration capacity, that some water goes in. So wouldn't there be contamination going on right now? If that's the case, which, is a real issue. And if there's a contamination going forward, that's obviously also a real issue. And if it's not adequately addressed, that's what the DEIR process is for, to address and to bring evidence into that process. And I'm glad that Mr. Cools did that, so that the lead agency can address it and answer adequately.
Well, Jens, you're claiming legitimacy in an area that you have no expertise in. And both Ken and I do, and are telling you that you're misinterpreting what's being said.
Yeah, no, I'm not claiming expertise. Quite the contrary. I'm just asking questions, and you were asked a question, you didn't answer it, so
I did answer it, sir. I did answer. You misstated earlier my position too.
Okay.
So this isn't
All
the
right, you
first time
guys.
that you've misstated my
All right.
position.
All right. You guys.
Well, I feel that it's appropriate for me to speak out and to be given the opportunity to speak when he misstates my position.
Tim, it's late and I'm tired and I'm trying to manage the chat, and I don't frankly have the capacity to manage the two of you, because I can only do so much.
Thank you very much for inviting me to come and speak this evening.
Thank you for thanking me. I'm not quite sure if that was sincere or not, but I will use our community agreements and assume good intent. I'm going to move to Angelo. Angelo, you're up.
Good evening. I'll try to keep it short and tight.
Yes, because it's 8:20. So no, you're supposed to have committee reports, which we haven't gotten to, and announcements.
I just added a link to the chat. That is to the City of Pasadena's website, where the 110 pages of blueprints can be found in PDF format. If you could open that up, I'll comment on it in a second. I just want to point out a couple of things. There have been no water tests or soil tests related to these project sites.
I'm sorry, was that a question or an observation?
It's just an observation. Anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. The project is based upon prehistoric, almost like 2000 era channel readings at outfalls. And they definitely have not, and I confirmed this with Don, stormwater captain, if you will, that they have not measured the water at the mouth and then at the exit. I believe that the biological filtration that this wetland, that this site, San Pascual specifically, I believe that the biological filtration is high. I believe it is a fully functioning biological filter. In response to the earlier discussion about the hydrostatic pressure and how this is a larger pool, if you go to page 94 out of 110, there's a whole bunch of these sort of similar diagrams. This is the one that shows the landscaping plan overlaid on some topological markings. By my reading, the widest extent of the San Pascual site from limit of work to limit of work is 190 feet, 180, 190 feet. And the widest area of the pool under wet weather stormwater conditions is 140 to 150 feet wide. So what we have right now is a maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 max, 20-foot max wide bottomless river, maybe 12, 18, 24 inches deep at the most. That's what we have right now, 15 feet wide, 18 inches deep to 150 feet wide and 8 feet deep. So considerably different volumes of water. Aquifer, the geotechnical report says that there's bedrock, so it's going to seep laterally. That's the crux of the argument that the aquifer recharge is a exaggerated number. And again, I asked Dawn in private after the Environmental Advisory Commission meeting in Pasadena in October.
You're talking about Dawn, I think she's an engineer at the city of Pasadena, right? Dawn Petschauer, I think.
Like the director of stormwater operations.
I think that's who you're talking about, yeah.
Dawn Petschauer, yes.
Yeah.
So she's the authority on this subject.
Okay.
Not this project's lead, but this project's lead reports to her. Sorry, what was that? The groundwater recharge. So the purported groundwater recharge numbers, after the original round of EIR comments, I raised the issue, and at that Environmental Advisory Commission meeting, it was noted as a response to community members that groundwater recharge at this site is unlikely. Infiltration at this site is unlikely. Also, I just want to say that in relation to these two things, I could go on and on. When I met with the lead engineer of this project 2 weeks ago, we looked at the blueprints in person, and she said that the weep holes that are at the channel side of this site are what will be utilized after this project with the new design. So the existing design where water infiltrates through the bottom and into the channel is the same biological filtration mechanism that is currently being used. And I will add that the maintenance issue, they told me that day, I asked them, what will you do to maintain this wetland? And they said, and I quote, we will figure that out as we go. What this current site needs is wetland maintenance, scooping out muck if the soil tests say so, and planting wetland plants, and rotor-rooting the pipes, snaking the pipes. I'll leave it at that.
So I'm sorry, I was multitasking, but I'm not sure what was the main crux of what you were working to convey?
A follow-up to an earlier sort of the hydrostatic pressure and the general lack of actual numbers for this project site. Dawn said it's all based on models. So the width and depth of the pool is what allowed them, by Measure W standards, to say that 900,000 acre feet or whatever will be infiltrated. The geotechnical report saying that infiltration on site is unlikely, that is irrelevant. Just by the BMP being a certain square footage, it's enough for them to have put on that propaganda pamphlet this number that I have heard repeated over and over and over again, despite Dawn herself saying that no, indeed, it is not the case. So I don't know, just I just kind of want to raise the issue that I don't think we've tackled the misinformation that is going on back and forth in this meeting tonight. And also I would like to stay past 8:30, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, we'll have to stay a little bit past, but we can't say much past because we have to try to be respectful of people's time. So obviously we cannot come to a decision. Clearly, the vast majority of people are not in favor of the project. That goes without saying. I don't think I need to take a poll. I created a little document to put, what I think I'll do is ask people to do this on their own time. Board, could you guys put in the chat, could one of you please put in the chat that little document I put in pros and cons and points of agreement? I don't know that there are any points of agreement. I mean, I actually think there are a ton of points of agreement, but I think people are so grumpy that they aren't going to want to identify them. I actually think we all might want the same things for the river. I actually think probably most people love Tim's vision, including Yen's, most likely. Yeah, most people probably love the vision of native plants for the site. And most people would probably love that we don't have the unhoused. And most people, I mean, there are a lot of things that we could probably agree on if we, as I said, were less grumpy. But I think the question, and maybe I'm being too pie in the sky, but I think the question is, how do we get there? And when do we get there? Jens, you can speak for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. I don't have an issue with unhoused individuals. They, like anybody else, has a right to be in spaces.
Well, right, but I mean, I think we would like them to be housed. I don't know what I said, but I think we would all like them to be housed. Maybe you don't, maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. I think I would.
I just want to clarify that I don't have an issue with that per se.
Oh, with them not being housed. I see. I would like them to be housed. I mean, I think they would like to be housed, most of them, but perhaps not all of them. Okay, so perhaps we disagree on that. Oh gosh. Yeah, I think people are very grumpy. Well, I think everybody came into this grumpy. All right, maybe they're grumpy. Well, I'm grumpier now, in case anybody wanted to know. I'm grumpier now than I was a couple hours ago. So we can work to come up with a position statement, and I think we will work to take a position statement in opposition to the project, because I think it's clear that most advocacy committee members, so just so you know, if you are in the city of LA and meet Dunn's standards, which I posted on our event page, if you are in the advocacy, if you are in the city of LA, according to Dunn, then we said we could weigh in tonight. I, to be candid, don't like all the reasons everybody disagrees with the project. It's kind of like other projects that people don't like. I don't like all the reasons, but there are lots of reasons to dislike a project, right? So we can work with our existing advocacy committee to come up with a letter, and everybody is welcome to join our advocacy committee. Maybe this will be a way to get more advocacy committee members. That might work. I want to thank our presenters. Yeah, well, the way we work as an alliance is we are an alliance, right? We are open, and we are about like we're an alliance, right? That's how we work. And Roy, we haven't had any participation from Arroyo Seco in years. So you do not have any representation, and that's because you folks don't participate. So if you would like some representation, and if you would like a voice, then you can participate. So that's your folks' decision. So I'm going to try to pull up our slides and see if I can manage to find them. That might actually be, sometimes that's a challenge, but I'll see if I can pull up our slides really, yeah, maybe I'll be able to pull them up and we can talk about our committees. But super briefly, I will talk about our advocacy committee. The thing we're working on most right now is, oh, so what I was going to say, sorry, I don't think I finished saying this, is with the document that I think Alex just put in the chat, you can put your thoughts in there. It's a Google Doc, and anybody here is welcome to put your thoughts in there, things you might want us to include. I don't know if we're going to do a letter or submit something to the EIR. I looked at, oh, in case you guys don't know, the city council introduced a substitute motion. I don't know what I think about the substitute motion. It's very focused on the indigenous issue. I don't know if Roy loves I don't know if you've seen the substitute motion, Roy. I don't know what you think about it. It's not really, it's a little bit outside of our expertise. It's all about like the Keach Nation stuff and nothing about sustainability. And frankly, I'll be candid with you guys because sometimes I'm too candid. It's largely also about the charter and land use stuff, and I frankly think it's a misinterpretation of the charter, which I read today and have read, I think, a while ago. So that's not the angle that I would take. Oh, Clara, did you just put
We can
something in
tell
the
you
chat?
about, hi, this is Monica.
Oh, Monica. Okay, go ahead.
I could tell you about we pulled the resolution.
Oh,
Because
you did?
yes.
Okay, yeah,
Monica
please tell me
and,
about that.
okay, so Monica and Clara, we were at the meeting. We had worked with, we worked for to develop the resolution, right?
The first one or the second one? The first
Both
one.
of them, both of them.
Okay.
So what happened was I had submitted it to them. They looked at it, but in the morning they added something else that could affect the AB 52 process.
Okay.
So when I saw it, I told Kevin to tell the council member to pull it. Clara and I and some other people that were there, we asked for them to pull it because we need to help them understand that them adding that wording and that language could affect the AB 52 process. So that's why it was pulled. We're going to revisit it with them and help them understand that process. So it was pulled at our request.
Okay.
Not because she wanted to pause it. We asked for that.
Okay, that's super helpful to hear. So did you provide them the substitute language?
I provided them with language that we went for, me and one of her persons, Kevin. We went back and forth about how to fix it. However, and that's what he was supposed to submit to her, which he did. But then I don't know, they changed some of it to add wording that could affect the AB 52 process.
Okay.
And when I went to the meeting, he showed it to me. He said, "Hey, look, they changed it." And so I said, "Hey, what's going on? They need to pull that because it could affect the AB 52 process." So that's why it was pulled, not because she wanted to pull it or anything. It was because something that we wanted to make sure that we're not affecting and disrupting the AB 252 process that has to go through. And one of the reasons that we can stop this project. So it's really important. That's why it was pulled.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for explaining that. That's super helpful because I didn't understand and now I understand not entirely, but far better than I did. So I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. So I cannot really not good at multitasking. So I'm going to do is ask HA, are you able to talk about energy without your slides for a second? Can you do that?
I got a copy in front of me.
Okay, thank you, because I have to pull up the slides and I can't talk and do that well. So if you could introduce yourself and talk about and give your update, and then I'll try to pull up the slides.
Hi, everyone. AJ, I'm the Energy Committee Chair. So just gonna succinctly touch on my updates. So our committee's been involved with LADWP's Community Advisory Board, where conversations focus around the LA 100 plan. And we have a little homework to do as a committee, just doing deep dive on LA 100 plan as we approach the next quarter. And we're also looking at the LA City climate budget. As a committee, would like to get to a point of weighing in our thoughts on it. And I've actually started doing a little deep diving myself. We're continuing our conversation around SB 868 around the proposed solar generation devices, and do have a little bit of concerns of positions that our local utility might take on it. So we're hoping to have our contact, the Office of Public Accountability, Timothy O'Connor, who's our new ratepayer advocate, at our next meeting. Then we're also hoping to have him there to get further thoughts or weigh-ins on cap and invest. And then the other thing that I'm excited about that hoping will manifest, and Lisa might need you to speak a little bit to this, is the CPUC Clean Energy Access. And got an idea to possibly, when in cooperation with the U.S. Green Building Council, to have them table at the Nevada Hills Street. We're in the works of that. Nothing's finalized yet, but excited about that. Somebody who was close to Aliso Canyon. And then our energy committee is still seeking a new co-chair. And then I just want to advise everyone that even though our meetings are every third Wednesday of the month, this month's meeting will be at a special time, July 22nd at 7 p.m. because I will be out of town upcoming date. And those are my updates. Thank you.
Okay, advocacy, there's a new CMO director, and we've got these things going on, but I'll just tell you our main focus is artificial turf, which we're working on really hard, and we'd love to have folks join in on the fight. We're doing a lot of water stuff. We've done a lot of LA River stuff, and tonight's discussion is related. So if you're passionate about this conversation, honestly, you folks should join us. We're doing a lot of related work, and we'd love to have more feisty people. We'd love feisty, polite people, but we'd love feisty people. Okay, transportation and land use, Muriel.
Hello. Thank you guys for sticking around. So we have a meeting this Thursday. There's also a survey about saying whether or not how we should travel to and from the Dodger Stadium. The survey is due by tomorrow morning, so I'm not sure if we have access to this link, but
we should have put it in the chat.
Oh gosh, yeah. Okay. Well, let me I think I have oh wait, I can. Hold on.
Well, you can do that when you're done.
I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, but yeah, that's it. We have a meeting this Thursday. Please come out. And yeah, that's it.
That's a great reminder. It's connected to Stop the Gondola regarding Dodger Stadium. That's a great idea to put it in the chat, Muriel. God, I feel like I was going to say something. Oh, but are you sure it's due in the morning? I don't think it's due in the morning. Anyway, I did not tell people it was due in the morning. I don't think it's due in the morning. Joanne. Joanne?
I had to unmute myself. Had to figure out how to do it on the phone. Okay, the Trees Committee. Charles has been holding the fort for me while I've been dealing with my husband's glioblastoma. So the next Trees meeting is July 25th at 1:30 to 3:30 on Zoom. And Charles is going to do part 2 of his discussion of native tree species. This time focusing on the 24 or so oaks that are native to the region. Most of us only know the common ones like coast live oak, but there are actually others, and they are good candidates to plant instead of some of the exotic trees that seem to be ubiquitous in Los Angeles. If people want to be on our mailing list, our trees mailing list, they should just email me at trees@ncsa.la. You'll get the Zoom link for this upcoming meeting later in the month. And we meet every other month. So our next meeting after that would be in September. So that's pretty much it. I apologize for not sending out as much email as I used to, but I've been pretty overwhelmed with this health problem in our family. So I'm trying to keep going. And Adele Slaughter is, she's accepted to be vice chair of the NCSA Trees Committee, but I don't think she's going to do much just yet because she's just been elected chair of the Community Forest Advisory Committee, and I'm now vice chair. So it's a new fiscal year for us, a new election year. So that's what's going on. I think once Adele gets her feet wet in being chair of CFAC, that she will be able to participate more as vice chair of the Trees Committee. And as time goes on, I probably will have more time. But right now, this is a really difficult period for me. But I was really interested in this meeting tonight, especially since CFAC took a position against the Arroyo Seco San Pascual project.
All right, thank you. And Jens, I see you're still here. Did Tim leave us? I did not thank either one of you properly. Jens, I really want to thank you so much for stepping up last minute and for being so gracious in the face of, and I think it's one of the most difficult meetings we've had. I don't know. Alex, do you have a count on how many people have been removed?
So far, I only removed 2.
Oh, only 2. I thought it was more.
Most meetings we have 0. So.
Oh no, this is unusual. So
the Zoom meeting was worse.
What do you mean the Zoom meeting was worse?
Well, we had a meeting about the zoo.
Zoo, no.
Oh, the zoo.
It was
Did
worse.
we have you're talking about a meeting we had?
Yeah, we had a very controversial meeting about the zoo.
Oh, maybe my memory is not what I thought it was. Yeah, we've had some feisty meetings, but this is, to my memory, this is the toughest one we've had. So I want to thank you, Jens, especially because you stepped up last minute.
If I may, I just want to say thank you right back. This has been a great opportunity. I'm sticking around because, to my great shame, I've never attended one of your meetings before. So I'm here and I'm listening and I'm learning.
Well, great. Thank you.
And as far as meetings goes, this was fun.
Yeah.
So this was not bad at all in my book. I've had a lot worse. So yeah, great. Thank you. I'm going to go on mute now and let you do actual business.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're just about done. I just want to let you folks know we are working on some candidate forums. I cannot say more than that because we are working on them, so I cannot make any commitments. But I'm hoping we'll be hosting or co-hosting or hosting. I really cannot say more. Candidate forum in August. So that's all I can say. And that's my announcement, and I'll hand it over to anybody else who wants to make an announcement, and then we'll close out and say goodnight. And we'll only be a little bit more than 15 minutes late. Glenn's not here, so we got no announcements from Glenn. He's usually the other announcer.
I am
Charles
here.
usually makes an announcement. Oh, Glenn is there.
I am
you
here.
Sneaky guy.
I was thinking about whether I should. Okay, so just real quick. Neighbor Council Budget Advocates, we are populating our departmental teams. That's where we comprise representatives, neighbor councils, neighbor council board members, stakeholders who are interested in the workings of each of the city's 40+ city departments. We meet with them once a year to prepare our report and recommendations to the mayor and the city council, and then go into the budget process next spring. So we are taking signups now. So if you go to our website, budgetadvocates.org, or send us an email if you have a particular department you're interested in, our deadline to sign up is August 1st.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And Charles?
Yeah, I just want to invite everybody to 2 weeks from tonight, Los Angeles Climate Reality Project chapter meeting. My guest in our Climate Movers and Shakers interview series will be Jessica Aldridge, who works with Athens Services, and some of you who are participating in the group coalition tour that we did recently of the facility will have met Jessica. It's going to be a great conversation about the waste component of climate, and you can RSVP at laclimatereality.org. Our web people are on vacation right now, and so there's no photo of Jessica up there, but you can still RSVP for the event.
And she's participated with us before in other events we've had with, or at least one other event we've had with Athens. So, and she's very active with Reusable LA, which we are a coalition member of. Okay, well, thank you, folks. So please do populate that document if you want to be engaged with what we end up producing. I don't exactly know what that will look like yet, but the deadline is soon. And maybe Monica or Clara, you can help us know what the timeline is looking like on the city council side. I saw that it's supposed to go to Rules Committee. So yeah, if you could help me know the timeline, one of the two of you maybe, that would help me know how fast I have to move. But I guess we should get something, try to get into something in by August 1st, because I know that's the deadline for the extended draft EIR comments. All right, thank you guys. Good night. Sleep tight.
All right, everybody. Thanks
Thank
for
you all.
joining.
Thank you all.
Good night.